I want to welcome anybody that's new to the podcast. I know that I've been doing this for about 3 years now, so maybe you tune into it before you've kind of got a grasp of how the content here goes, or maybe you're new and you're just looking for a little bit of help on how to get started with whatever social media plan you have here. And today, I wanted to talk about how to start properly. The reason I made this podcast is because I actually needed to rebrand and restart my endeavors on social media different too. I needed to make it better. I needed to kind of redirect the content that I was creating so that it spoke to my target audience a lot better. And that target audience is basically people who are looking to use social media to kind of get started on whatever it is that they're ambitious about. Whether that's you wanting to be a musical artist or maybe a regular artist, maybe you want to start your own small business, or maybe you're looking to get a lot of attention on social media to use that as marketing leverage, whatever it is that you want to do. I'm here to try to help you with that. And it helps a lot more once you actually know what you're passionate about. And I think the best way to figure that out is to look at what you do during your free time whenever you don't have any work to do. Whether that's playing video games, or you like to write, or maybe you like to do yoga, maybe you like to work out, maybe you're really passionate about martial arts. Whatever that is, I think that paying attention to what it is that you like to do whenever you're not required to do anything is more than likely where your passion is going to lie. I know that was the case for me. And initially, it was me actually watching anime. And what I did in my spare time was I made like a page dedicated to a lot of different anime, and over time it grew to about had a following of about 10K on a few different platforms, and I use that as the leverage to kind of as confirmation and leverage to say you can do this. You can help other people figure out what it is that they like to do on social media and show them what you did, like what worked for you, what helped for you to get you to where you wanted to be. Because when I first started out, I didn't have anything. I was working at a job that I really didn't like. I quit that job. I don't suggest anybody to go the route that I took unless you're really, really, really like solid and you're thinking. And I wasn't. I just really hated my job. So I paid attention to what I liked. I left that job the same day, got another job another day, and I spent a long portion of the time. And I know I'm getting a little personal here, but I think that it paints a picture. I spent a long amount of time as a security guard inside of a car, and that's where I did the majority of the social media building and learning that I have today, and that was probably about 3 to 4 years ago, and it's the where I've been able to go from there and just kind of be able to live in my passion and do that every day, not even to the amount that I would like to, but just to a place where I'm happy every time I wake up, and that's important. And I think figuring out what it is that you're passionate about and then go and just going bullheaded at it is the best way to not only learn but to get started on what you want to do. And that's sort of just my spiel on figuring out your passion. Once you do have that though, or you're not in that realm of you don't know what you want to be doing, maybe you do know I want to start a small business surrounding around fashion. I want to start my career as a rapper. I want to start my career as a singer. I want to be an athlete. If you know that already, then you are way ahead of a lot of people who are still in that pool of figuring out. And if you are still figuring out, that's fine, because at least actively trying to get a grasp on who you are and what you want to be doing is the first step. So don't feel any pressure from anybody, even if it's super close family members, around what you should be doing. Figure it out for you. But if you are in that other realm of people who do know what they want to be doing and you just don't know the next steps to take, let's take a look at social media. Now, it isn't the end all be all. My my approach towards social media is that it's a tool. A lot of people do get caught up with the tool and allow the tool to start using them. That's when they get caught up on the algorithm and how you need to beat it. And in reality, you just need to be taking the correct steps and putting out quality content consistently to really get you where you want to be. And that's where I'll get to my next point: how to set up properly. So, one thing, you need to know who you want to be talking to. And basically, who's your target audience? Whatever it is that you want to be doing, you have an audience that you are creating that content for. For example, one that's probably pretty popular that I see a lot is modeling or music. Modeling or music, really popular ones. Modeling, let's say you're gonna want to set up your first pillar content, and that kind of for me surrounds around who you want to be talking to too. So if you're a model, right, and you probably are trying to get in front of the faces of people who like modeling. You want to get in the faces of people who like fashion, your photographers, other models, things of that nature, maybe even fitness, because I know a lot of those pictures look, and models can be that can get chopped up into a lot of different categories. I think modeling is a very broad category now in the social media world, a lot more saturated than it used to be when things were first getting started. But still, definitely with the right plan, you can still go full force at it and achieve what you're looking for. But that's just one example of one niche that I'm kind of getting into, but not me personally, but kind of talking about. But you will want to look at who you're talking to, and those would probably be, in my opinion, the people that you're trying to reach. You also want to know, not only what are they interested in, or you want to know what the age range of those people are. I would think that that would be somewhere between your early 18s, not that 18 can get any younger, but from 18 to about I would say to about 40. And I haven't done the market research there, but you want to make sure you know who you're talking to, because that plays a part in how you're going to develop your content. Take another niche, for example, because sometimes you can go, okay, modeling doesn't apply to me. What about me? One I can say for sure is that I create t-shirts. T-shirts surrounded around anime characters for the other page and the other brand that I was kind of talking about earlier in the podcast. So because I know who I'm talking to there, I'm talking to anime fans. I'm talking to fans that more than likely like animation in general, whether it's not just anime, they probably like Superman, and they probably like Goku, any of those characters. If you're not familiar with them, super popular in that arena, but they probably like that. They're probably around my age, probably somewhere between 18 up all the way to 44. I know this because I've taken a look at the research. So I know what they like. I know their age. I know where the majority of those people, they're kind of like in big cities. Your Detroit's, Dallas, Houston, LA, big cities with dense demographics. Now, do you need to be a mathematician and know every little detail before you go? No, because you won't even know that when you first start. But you do want to have a rough idea of who it is that you're talking to. And the reason that I brought up the Instagram thing on when I was referring to models is because that knowing that information about who you're going to talk to kind of builds the idea around what is going to be your pillar, where you're going to put your pillar content, where you're going to put, where is your platform going to be that you thrive in the best. So for me, starting off, it was Instagram, but that was before I knew exactly what type of content I wanted to make, and it was podcasting. So if you're going to be a podcaster, for example, this is how your content should go. You should probably focus the majority of your content towards the actual podcast. You don't want to get too caught up on where to put this, where to put that. You do want to be on everything. I would say the first step is to after you know who you're going to be talking to, establish yourself on pretty much every platform. Now, are you going to be using every platform as consistently as you use the one that works the best for you? Probably not. If you can, hats off to you, because initially I could not. I tried, I got huge burnout. But if you have the time and you have the effort, which I didn't, but I did it anyway, then yeah, distribute to every platform that you can as often as possible. That is my just most logical advice that I can give you, like straightforward. Push out as much as you can to everywhere that you can that's relevant to where you want to be. But if we want to make it more practical here, pick the platforms, get yourself established on all of them, so make accounts for them. But you want to focus your attention on the platforms that are going to work the best for you. So if you are a podcaster, back to our example there, you want to focus on actually distributing that podcast on the podcast platform. The next thing that you want to go to, another a social media platform, is going to be YouTube. Why? Because people listen to podcasts on YouTube too. That would probably be the next place that you would listen to a podcast. Aside from actually listening to it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you probably pull the video up just like you do other videos on YouTube, and you put your headphones in and you can play it in the background. For some phones it costs. For other ones, you can do it. My wife, she can do hers without having to pay like the premium for YouTube. I'm jealous, but whatever. So that would be your next place. Then from there, you probably want to go to Facebook and put it there too. Not that you can listen to it that way, but the majority of people who will be willing to listen to podcasts and the ones that listen to it on YouTube probably are on Facebook too. Never underestimate Facebook. But that's kind of where you want to get it, because you see there now I post to my podcast platform, and my main two platforms are Facebook and YouTube. But if you're a model, your main one's going to be Instagram. Why? Because Instagram is great for pictures, and models are probably going to take pictures. If you're going to be a musical artist, then your platforms are probably going to be anywhere that you're going to be pushing music to, distributing music that you listen to. YouTube, because you can put your headphones in your ear and listen to the music. You kind of get where I'm going with this. Those platforms are more relevant to what you're doing, but it doesn't mean that they're the only ones that you want to be posting on. But you want to pick your pillar platform. So first, figure out what it is that you want to be doing. Secondly, set up properly, meaning set yourself up on all of your platforms, your TikTok, your Twitter, your YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Get yourself established on there. Pick your username, pick set up your emails, like really set up that bio. And I can go into depth on other podcasts about uh the details of the bio and stuff like that. But just for this one, kind of establishing the basics, know what you want to do, and set up properly is the next step. And that's by knowing who you want to talk to and knowing where you're talking to them at. And that's those pillar platforms. So after you know who you want to talk to, which platforms work the best to distribute that content, then you want to figure out what exactly are you going to be putting out to them. I think that this is easier for someone who has pretty much a natural talent, and this gets into content creation. So we have figure out what you want to do, how to set up, and then your actual content creation and distribution. So there you want to know what you're making, and you won't really know when you first start exactly what content works best. This is where you're going to make a bunch of different types of content and pushing it out to the platforms that matter most to you as well as others if you can, and seeing what sticks and what doesn't. But there are forms of content that work a lot better for a particular target audience, that don't work as well for other ones, for other niches. And also, you want to pay attention to being, how would I put this? Knowing how to talk in the space that you're talking. For instance, if you're the same music that you would push to, let's say, TikTok, may not be the exact same music that you would post to Facebook because the audience is different. I won't get into the specifics there because that'll have to be for another podcast. But I will say, when you're pushing to these platforms, know exactly how to talk in that space. But let's go back to the actual content creation there. So I would say figure out one thing, one type of content that you can make for the platforms that you're going to be putting them out on. For instance, let's keep it to myself because that's a really good example. For Strong Persona Media, which is the brand that I create, social media consultant type content around, like this, teaching you what you should be doing for social media to get where you want to go. Best thing for me is to make a podcast because voice, I don't like being on camera as much as I like being just talking, primarily because it's quicker. I don't have to set up and get a light or something like that in front of me. I don't have to make sure I'm looking good or whatever. I can just get on a plot on a podcast and just start talking. And for me, that works best. You will figure out what works best for you when you're picking how you want to make your content. But you want to make sure that you're making it either video, voice, or written. Either you want to make videos where you can get in front of somebody and then you can put that to YouTube and strip the audio to the podcast and then break up little mini. That's what I do. I make one podcast, put that podcast in video form on YouTube, and then take the little snippets and put it out to the rest of the platforms. Easy enough for distribution. Figure it out what it is that you want to do. Me, I do social media Saturdays. It's an established thing. Every Saturday I'm going to be here, and then throughout the week, you're going to get clips from what you heard Saturday. So the same could be with the music thing. Let's say you're a musical artist. You make a song, right? You do, let's say, a cover a day. And so you make a cover a day, and meaning you're just singing the song of somebody else in your way, and you pushing it out there. So let's say you put that on whatever platform that you distribute in music. You take that same music and you put it on YouTube. So you take that song that you made, that cover that you made, and you put it on YouTube. Now you got content for YouTube. You take the best minute of that from YouTube, and then, or not even just the best minute. You take that same song, that same video, put it on Facebook. Then take it from Facebook, take 1 minute of it, put it on Instagram. Or you also put the whole video on IGTV. Then you take a minute of that, put it on Twitter. And then you take 15 seconds of that and put it on your story. You can put it on your Facebook story too. You put it on your Snapchat story. You put it on your Twitter fleet. Twitter has fleets now. Crazy. And then you can even take that and make a TikTok out of that song so that audio can get played. If you are a musical artist, by the way, and you are not on TikTok, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. Get on TikTok. That's pretty much for everybody. Get on TikTok. Um, is it going to perform the best on TikTok if you are running a small business that primarily caters to 40 to 60 year olds? Then no, it probably is not going to be the best place for you, but you still should push content there because there is a huge amount of attention that you aren't reaching there. But I digress. If you are a musical artist, you need to be on TikTok. But that was just a rough breakdown of what content creation and distribution looks like. And I'll touch on that in a different podcast, but I wanted to kind of give you the basics of how things go. And I know there's probably a bunch of questions left after hearing this, but if you do have questions, leave me a review or leave me a voice memo on Anchor. That way I can respond to the question directly. And if it's a really good question, put it in the actual podcast so other people can know, um, how to respond to that question. But I wanted to let you know how to start properly, that I know this best because I had to do it myself. And you want to look at honing in on what it is that you actually want to do, setting yourself up on those platforms after you know what you want to do, and then creating a social media plan around content creation and distribution. And if you need any assistance there, reach out to me. I have no problem giving people free information. Um, you know, it's just what you do with that information that matters. So let me know if this helps you out. Leave me a review, leave me a voice memo. It would be greatly appreciated if you did, because I do want to help people through this process. So tune in to the podcast. Welcome to Social Media Saturday with me, Jamar Armstrong, on the Strong Persona podcast. Thanks. Take care.